And we're looking good, you'll be in for a fight, and we fight pretty good. Getting goals is our job, and we get goals good. Looking good, we are Carlisle United.
Carlisle United, the team that's on the ball. Carlisle United, the team for one and all. You're looking good, and we're with you all the way. You'll hear us singing every time you play.
Hello everyone and welcome to this special Fixture Release Day episode of the Brunton Bugle, your one-stop shop for all things Carlisle United in the world of podcasts. From Richard Tracy to Rod Thomas and Jabbo Obire to Lloyd Isterton, we've got it covered. In today's episode we're going to be, as we mentioned previously, taking a look at United's fixture list for the League 2 season coming up, discussing some of the comings and goings over the summer at United and a few bits of news as well. We'll give our views as well on the new home and away kits, which were released this week, and the changes to the catering setup. And we've got a mega update on what X-Blues have been getting up to over the last month or so since our last episode. I'm joined on this episode by one of my co-hosts, and it's Dan McLennan. Dan, how's it going, Mara?
Not bad, mate.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy summer at Brunton Park, hasn't it? But I suppose Euro 2020 has been a bit of a distraction, hasn't it, really? People maybe haven't noticed as much.
Yeah, I mean, I think May was pretty quiet, wasn't it? Once the release list was out and that, but this last week certainly things have speeded up. I think the players are actually in for fitness testing today, so that's always like the precursor to pre-season training. So
yeah, I think like sort of pre-seasons are a bit messed up over the last few seasons, aren't they? With what happened with COVID and stuff like that, and I think next season's going to be just as bad, isn't it? Because we still don't know what's happening with the 22-23 season, because that's obviously when the World Cup's going to be right bang in the middle of it, isn't it? So
I don't think it'll affect us too much.
Possibly not, but you'd imagine this. I do wonder if the leagues will say, well, we don't really want to have games on while the World Cup's happening, do they? So
I don't know. Yeah. What's Qatar, 3 or 4 hours ahead? So I don't think they'll affect it that much. But
it's the evening kickoffs, isn't it? I suppose on the weekends they'd clash with our weekend fixtures. I wonder if they might have some like midday kickoffs or something like that in the football league in those days. But there you go.
Put a big screen in the waterworks, get everyone in early, make some money.
Not the bad idea at all, is it really? All right, then let's get on to the news bit. So first up, let's go and talk about the summer comings and goings at Brunton Park, Dan. So it's been a few weeks since we were last on, and there's been plenty of activity down Brunton Park. Like, first up, let's talk about the players that have been left Brunton Park in that time. Firstly, Captain Nick Anderson. He's turned down his new deal. He's joined newly relegated League 2 club Bristol Rovers on a 2-year deal. It's one of those ones, isn't it? I don't think people are that disappointed about it, are they, really? In one sense, they would have been okay with him staying, but the fact that he's gone is not a major upset, is it really?
No, the emergence of Jack Armour towards the end of last season is obviously at the forefront of most people's thoughts when we discuss this. You know, Anderton was probably going to start as the backup sort of left-sided defender. So he's been offered a 2-year deal. I think we would obviously only offer him a year, I'm guessing. You can't blame him, can you?
Yeah, the talk I've heard is that he was offered reduced terms based on the fact that he wouldn't be a guaranteed first choice in that position anymore. So you can totally understand why he took the option to go to Bristol Rovers, and it's it's good.
Thanks for your 18 months here type thing.
Yeah, it's a good move for him as well. To be fair, moving to a club of that size. So
yeah,
good luck to him. The next two we can sort of combine together, can't we? Really, I think Randy Zanzala and Paul Farman. Now they've both turned down their new deals, and they've made the trip down the Cumbrian coast to join Barrow on 2-year deals. First up, Zanzala. That's one I think fans are really disappointed with, because he'd made such a good impact after a slow start, and he looked happy here. He seemed to be pretty comfortable with staying at Brunton Park, and suddenly he's turning up at Barrow. Now, the talk I've heard is that League One clubs were actually keen on him, and his agent was sort of saying to the club, well, League One clubs have offered this, so unless you can match it, there's no chance we're going to be staying.
we'll put one thing out there, and I've been told from a very good source that Barrow are seriously throwing money about.
Yeah.
So, it's no shame that they've gone there. The money they're offering it's not quite Salford levels, but it's up there apparently.
Yeah, it seems like they've panicked a little bit, Barrow, haven't they? Last season realised we actually need to invest. We couldn't just cope with the squad we had in non-league, League 2 level. Despite what a lot of people say, it is a big step up for clubs.
Yeah.
And especially when financial fair play comes in and you have to work around that as much as you can. But yes, as Zanzala, the talk I've heard is that, like I said, League 1 clubs offered him very decent money originally, but then they went very quiet. And they came back to us and said, well, this is what we want. This is what the League 1 clubs were offering. And we sort of said, well, no, this is what we're offering you. They've shopped him round, and Barrow have come in with an offer that we were just like, we can't match that. And he's gone there. It's frustrating to see him go there, but just the way it is, isn't it? Paul Farman, a little bit different.
Well, there's just one thing I want to say about Zanzala. He didn't even say goodbye to the fans, so sod him.
It's true. I remember you were quite unhappy about that one at the time.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. At the end of the day, the fans were all for him at the end of the season. Could at least say, our work was short, thank you very much. Paul Farman put a good note up, and did an interview. Zanzala never. Maybe it speaks volumes for the characters,
Yeah, maybe the agents involved as well, basically bigging them up to be bigger than they maybe really are. It's fair to say. I mean, Paul Farman, like you said, we're not sure what deal he was offered, whether it was a 1-year deal or it wasn't. The suggestion we've heard is it wasn't particularly great terms he was offered considering how good a season he'd had. And Barrow had basically come in with a 2-year deal on better terms. It's quite telling in the interview he did with John Coleman, isn't it? What he said there in terms of, well, I don't want to disrespect the club, so I'm not going to talk about that. If he'd basically said, look, Carl, I made a good offer, but Barrow blew out the water, he would have said that, wouldn't he? The suggestion is that the offer he got from Carl wasn't a great one, in all fairness. So,
and he's been offered 2 years. So.
Yeah, I do think it'll be a difficult one to replace. I think people are a little bit overestimating how comfortable we should be with letting someone like him go. Magnus Norman might turn out to be a great keeper. I don't know yet. I find it hard. I find it puzzling that people are judging him on those 4 games he played and thinking, yeah, we've got nothing to worry about that. He's better than Farman, is he? I'm not sure. I mean, Farman's got over 200, 300 games experience. Farman's got 40 odd.
Norman needs to have a good, solid start to the season.
The problem we've got as well is...
If he is number 1, we don't know. We might have another one coming in.
This is where the challenge comes though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who do we bring in as keeper? Because if you're bringing in a loan player, the talk was we were after Nathan Bishop from Manchester United, who's gone to Mansfield Town on loan.
Yeah.
I'd imagine Man United would have said, well, if he's coming to you, we want him to be first choice. We want him to be playing games at the start, at the very least. If he turns out he's not great, fine, you drop him. But if we're saying, oh, we're happy with Magnus Norman, then it's going to have to be someone to come in as a backup. So your choices there are either bringing an old head, an experienced head who's going to come in and effectively be happy to be second choice and play when he can. But then again, if someone like that, you'd probably want them to be keeper coach, and we've already got a keeper coach. Or do you bring in someone young to challenge him, and then Norman's not going to be happy, he's not going to get his chance potentially. So it's a really tough one for Beach, that one actually. It's probably one of the toughest signings he's going to have to make this summer, because if you're bringing someone in from a higher level club on loan, if they're happy for him to not be necessarily first choice, how good a keeper actually are they? That's the problem. Are they going to be that good a quality? But there you go. And finally, the last one who's moved on, who we know's moved on definitely for now, Mari Patrick. He's joined League 1 side Burton Albion on a 2-year deal. Can't knock a lot of this, really, can you? He's been offered a deal by a League 1 club, division above.
2-year deal, a league above. Of course, he's going to sign it.
And he's based down south, isn't he? I think originally. For him, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And he dropped off a bit towards the end of last season, but he's clearly got talent.
I'd say it was very split over whether fans would have kept him or not. So it's no real big deal that he's gone.
I think it's one of those ones. I just look at it and think, well, a League 1 club's taking a chance on him. A League 1 club that finished last season really well as well. It should be noted. I think if you took their form from when Hasselbank took over as manager and put that over a full season, I think they would have been up in the playoffs in League 1. That's how good Burton Albion were after Hasselbank came in. So they clearly rate him and think he's a player who could help them kick on. What happened with this trigger option? It wasn't very clear. He said there was a review in there, which was a bit of a weird wording, wasn't it, really? I have no idea what that even means. It's one of those ones you look and think, if there was a trigger there, why didn't we trigger it? We offered him a deal. Did we offer him reduced terms? And yet he's gone. Did we think, he's not going to get much better than us, and he's ended up with a League One club? It's a weird one. The negotiation on that one does puzzle me a little bit, but there you go. On the other hand, let's look at the new faces that arrived in the building on Warwick Road. First up, Tristan Abrahams has joined on a 2-year deal after, it should be said, turning down a new contract at Newport County. He did finish last season on loan at Leyton Orient, didn't he, from Newport? But by all accounts, Newport still did want to keep him, didn't they? He's had some big moves in his career, hasn't he? He's beaten
I was going to
Norwich
say,
City.
he actually started at Leyton Orient.
He did, yeah. I think he's had 3 spells there, hasn't he, in total? And
yeah.
He went to Norwich City for decent money when he was a youngster. It's never quite worked out there, has it, really? He's one of those places sort of bobbed along in the under-23s for a while.
Yeah, I think he had loans at Exeter and Yeovil, and then he went to Newport full-time. Yeah,
so he's one of those ones that probably needs to kick on and really show what he can do in his career now, doesn't he? But from the clips we've seen, he looks a big, strong lad, doesn't he? He looks like a player who's a decent finisher as well, actually. Something that stands out in the footage we've seen so far. So
I saw a lot of Orient fans saying they seemed to play him on the left of a free, and there was 2 or 3 of them who seemed to be quite, respected posters on there for him, were saying if only he'd been given a go down the middle.
Yeah.
So
you think maybe next season Beach is looking at Toure potentially to fill in that role down the left with fans being back, boosting his confidence and all that.
Yeah.
So you never know with that. Next up now, this is one that certainly caught a lot of people's eyes, didn't it? Zach Clough has signed on a 2-year deal after his release by Wigan Athletic. He's a player I remember a few years ago was the next big thing in the EFL, wasn't he? He was a player who was sought after by a lot of clubs when he started out at Bolton Wanderers. He ended up going to Nottingham Forest for about £3 million.
Yeah.
But he's just been blighted by injuries since then, hasn't he? He's found a really tough time. He went back on loan to Bolton.
I think there's been a bit more of an injuries at Forest from he hasn't outright said what happened, but
just hasn't worked, has it?
I think it's clear there was a bit of a falling out, and but no, he's obviously worked with Chris Beach before.
Yeah.
Excuse me, at Rochdale when he was on loan there. So, he knows what he's about, which is quite a good thing. And, a 2-year deal, it's a decent commitment, that. Who's to say he might not have a brilliant season? We sell him for $500,000 come next summer, which would work well for everyone if we've done well, Yeah,
exactly that, that. I think he's one that fans are excited to see play, aren't they, really? Because we know he's got ability. And he's not going to have lost that ability. It's just whether he can keep his fitness up and keep himself and be happy playing football. I think he said that in his interviews, that he wants to actually enjoy playing football again and actually be happy on the pitch. And I'm pretty sure he'll get a decent reception from our fans, won't he? I think I'm sure they'll be, our fans love that kind of player, don't they? With a few tricks in his box and stuff like that. So hopefully he can show what he's got. And finally, the third arrival, Corey Whelan. He's made the same journey up the M6 from Wigan after his release, and he signed on a 2-year deal. Decent pedigree, this lad. He started out in Crews Academy, went to Liverpool as a youngster, and then he ended up back at Crewden, I think, after Liverpool and Yeovil as well for a brief while. And he's been over in America, hasn't he? Playing in the United States Soccer League or something like that, I think it is. It's level below MLS.
The league below MLS, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Phoenix Rising he was playing for or something like that?
Yes.
I think it was.
Yes.
So interesting decision that was. But he's come back to England. He's been at Wigan for a short period, and now he's looking again to kickstart his career. He's got Ireland under-21 caps as well. He was captain of Liverpool's under-23 for a while too, wasn't he? He can play across the back four. He seems to be
he's more right-sided, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know Chris Beach said he can play across the back four. I think initially he'll be more backup for George Tanner and Aaron Hayden sort of thing.
Yeah, with the chance to potentially kick on there. But yeah, another one who, fits the mould of the kind of player we're trying to bring in, isn't it? And sort of kickstart their career. And he's clearly got a good pedigree, hasn't he, by all accounts? And he looks a bit, when you see the pictures of him alongside Beach, he looks a big strapping lad, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say, he looks quite a big lad, doesn't he?
So hopefully we'll see how he gets on. addition to that, Jack Armour signed an extended deal after we recorded our last episode, didn't he? And that's really encouraging news to keep him for 2 years, isn't it, Dan? Because he's been so brilliant towards the last season. Morgan Feeney, he signed his contract. He's the only one who has so far of the ones who were offered. Finally, though, still no update on Reece Bennett. It just seems like they're sort of quietly just sort of ignoring that now, aren't they? And just like, he might turn up on the first day of pre-season. You never know, do you, really? It's similar to like when Murphy turned down his deal, wasn't it, in the 2008 summer, and then suddenly quietly turned up again for pre-season training, didn't he? So be interesting to see whether Bennett does reappear at Brunton Park. But
well, they were, like I said, all the players have been back. So if he's serious about staying, you would have thought he would have been there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, next bit of news, Dan. Season ticket info has been finally published. I mean, the club were quite patient on this, weren't they? Really, they wanted to wait and see what would happen with the lifting of some of the lockdown restrictions and stuff like that. And obviously, that was delayed slightly. But I think they've got to the point now where they feel confident enough that, yeah, let's put season tickets on sale. So from next Monday onwards, season tickets will go on sale to people who had season tickets in the 2019-20 season, I think it is. They're looking back that far. They're being quite fair on fans. Working on the basis that there'll be no social distancing. Prices frozen for the 9th season in a row. That something fans seem to forget that, isn't it, really? And you forget that actually 9 seasons ago, we were in League One. We were a League Two side, weren't we?
Yeah.
So it's incredible. People forget that, and yet, you know, they complain, oh, we need to be investing more, making more signings. Well, they've not put the prices up, and, you know, wages and stuff have risen in that time. So you've got to look at it that way. When do we get to the point as a club when actually the club have to say, well, we're going to have to start raising prices here? That's the problem.
One thing I think the club have been right in as well is they've sort of drawn a line on last season, because there was that many different options and things happened. You know, some people paid full up front, some people didn't have direct debits taken, you know, some people did this, some people got codes, some people never. I think it's right that they've sort of drawn a line and just said, look, we need to move on. This season you pay, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly that. It's the best way to do, isn't it? So the usual benefits are all included, you know, your discounts in the club shop and things like that. Renewals will be getting a 4-game saving across the season. Fans will be able to purchase their 2019-20 season seats, and those who didn't opt to take a refund last season will actually get an extra game discount, which I think is quite a fair deal, actually, to be fair. And that's a decent thing to do for those people. And the tickets go on sale on Monday the 28th of June. You get the full details on the official website, can't they? So, you know, hopefully we'll be all standing together at Brunton Park next season. I don't know what you'll be doing, Dan, because you were in Warwick Road last year, weren't you? So
yeah, I went in Warwick Road, and I'm normally a B stander, so I'll probably be back in the B stand.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3,
4, 5.
If you want to stay alive, keep out the B stand, as the old chant goes. I haven't heard that one in ages, actually. I used to love that. Just 1 or 2 people would just start it up, wouldn't they? Brilliant stuff. Okay, the next one. This one emerged just this week, isn't it? The new kits have been unveiled for the 21-22 season. So the home shirt is a homage to the 74-75 season First Division kit, albeit it looks like a less messy version of that dreadful effort by Sondico a few years ago that I think both of us picked as one of our worst ever Cal United kits on the kit special, didn't we? It's the difference is it's blue shorts and blue socks as well. I mean, I'm not a fan, I'll be honest with you. The reaction's been good to it, but personally, not keen.
I just think it's a crazy decision to release this kit when your 3 seasons off the 50th anniversary, and you could really have done something around that. Yeah. You know, you could really have built a campaign around it, your whole marketing. You know, yes, there'll not be many players still about, but, you know, they could have got any who still were up. You know, I just think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I think it's quite lazy, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I just say, Carlisle United Football Club do not play in blue shorts.
I know, it's something that's wound you up big time. I agree with you. Blue shorts should be a backup if you have to wear them in
cases. You have to wear them occasionally. Yeah, I can put up with that.
But yeah, no, 100% agree with you. White shorts, and I think you should have black socks. I think we said this in our special.
I'd like to go old school for the black socks.
And to be honest, I'd go a step further. I'd take the red out of it and put gold back on it.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion.
The away kit seems to be the popular one, doesn't it?
It's got a bit of a Rochdale vibe to it, hasn't it? It's very similar to a home kit they had a few years ago, albeit in black rather than blue.
It looks like the 15-16, the Anfield year one, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite similar to that. So it's basically a black shirt with a sort of vertical red, white and blue stripe going over the club crest and down the shirt. It's okay. It's not too bad. I've heard a few people say it reminds them of Aquafresh or something like that, don't they, because of the stripe. But yeah, it's okay, isn't it? I think I'd prefer personally just an all black kit. I think it would be smarter, but I'd like to see them try something. Like a bright pink or something mad like that would be.
Eddie do like a stealth black one. I think is it Port Vale have got it.
I think last season I think they had one. I think it was they had it. Yeah, but
maybe last year, but the stealth black does
the
look,
blackout one. Yeah, it's tiny,
sharp and smart and.
It just feels like we've got the away kit's basically an off-the-shelf Aria thing because, like I said, Rothschild Aria, and they've had similar in recent years. The home kit, I think as well, like cutting it out a bit to put the badge in there as well. It just looks, it doesn't look as messy as the Sondico one, which had about a million different badges.
Oh no, the badges spoiled that one.
It's tidier than that, but like you said, it's lazy and it's just boring, isn't it? Just do something different. Like I said, do a Sampdoria style with the white banner going across the chest instead. Because the sponsors logo could look tidy then. You could have that right in the middle of it, put red piping on either side of the stripe if you really want to have red on it.
Give me a set of felt tips, half an hour in the office, and I'll knock up a set of kits that'll sell forever.
Yeah, I know you'd fancy it. Goalkeeper kits. White. Why are we wearing white as a goalkeeper kit?
White's different. The major problem, I think the red goalkeeping kit is actually the smartest of them all. Yeah. But the problem is when we play Stevenage and Exeter, and possibly other teams, we might need a third goalkeeper kit.
Yeah, I do wonder as well if a team's playing in sort of a darker coloured blue, are we going to have an issue with blue or black, and we might have to wear one of the goalkeeper kits potentially as an away shirt, possibly for those games.
You could probably utilise the white goalkeeper shirt, couldn't you, into a kit quickly?
Yeah.
Because I think Rochdale have got blue with black pinstripes.
It's quite thin, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the black will be enough, but it only takes a fussy referee to say, well, they have blue and black, what are you wearing?
Yeah, that's why you have the problem there, isn't it?
We end up wearing the goalkeeper shirt.
Should say the white goalkeeper kit as well does look very escape to victory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I did tweet that Magnus Norman looked like he was about to play a through ball to Pele on the photos, and Magnus liked that post, so very nice of him. They're on sale now. Despite what I've said, I will be buying them because I'm a collector. And
I only buy the shorts, so I'll probably buy all 4 pair of shorts over the season.
Even the blue ones?
Oh yeah, I'll still buy them.
You just don't like them.
Anyone who knows me knows I wear shorts pretty much 24/7.
365 days a year.
They should not be on the home shirt.
No.
In fact, the blue shorts would look good with the red keeper's top as an alternate kit. There you go.
Definitely. I need to go for a quick piss, mate, so I'll do 1 sec.
Are you keeping this in?
No, I'll cut it out, obviously. Oh, it's better.
I'm just calling it the midsummer episode recording.
Yeah, no worries. Right, I'll concentrate in. Right, well, I think that's enough chat about kits and that sort of stuff then, Dan. So let's move on to the last bit of news, and that's the fact that 2 more pre-season fixtures have been announced. So when we last recorded, we obviously talked about the fact that most of the games against the non-league sides have been announced, and there was spaces there that we presumed were going to be for maybe League One or Championship clubs. We weren't 100% right, were we, on that one? I think it's fair to say. So, there's been 3 more fixtures added to the list. First up, the newly promoted Championship side Blackpool will be coming to Brunton Park on Saturday the 24th of July with 3 p.m. kickoff. So that'll be a chance to see Jerry Yates and Gary Medine back in action at Brunton Park. I don't really fancy our defence coming up against them to that game, to you, because they had a hell of a good season last year. Mind you, it does depend on whether Jerry Yates is still there, doesn't it? Because he's been touted by a few clubs, I think.
Blackburn are favourites for him if Armstrong goes there.
Yeah, it'd be a good sign for them, I think it's fair to say. That's on the 24th. Then next up, on the Tuesday after that, 27th of July, we're playing Everton under-23s behind closed doors. Interesting one, this one, because obviously the chances are that Jared might come up against us, mightn't he? He might be a part of the Everton first team squad by then, though. You never know with these things, do you? Depends who the new manager is and what they decide to do at Everton.
It might be on his way to Real Madrid by the time.
Honestly, the fact that Ancelotti's gone to Real Madrid couldn't have worked out better for us if he really does rate Jared that highly. Because if he does well at Everton, they might well come in and make a bid for him. It's not totally unrealistic to say that, is it? Really, crazy, that, isn't it? Imagine we're
fantastic
getting money via Real Madrid, but there you go. And then the final pre-season fixture, got a big glamour tie at Brunton Park, haven't we?
Friday night lights.
Yes. Halifax Town from the National League are coming to Brunton Park for a pre-season. I don't get this, right? Don't say you've got games that are going to get fans will be interested and will want to watch, and then announce you're playing a bloody National League side.
I'll be quite honest, it's boiled my piss, and that's the end of it.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Don't tell us you've got an exciting fixture and that's what you got. Oh, it's just nonsense.
It's peak Carlisle United.
It smacks a bit of desperation, doesn't it? You do wonder if, I don't know,
maybe being knocked back from a couple, or other teams have changed plans.
Yeah. Just the way it is, isn't it? Because I know they've said about the League Cup draw, which we'll get onto in a minute, obviously. They said, didn't they, that you could potentially move your game to this weekend, couldn't you, or during this week, if you wanted to free up a space after the first game of the season instead. But I imagine we're probably not doing that. I think our game's pretty much been confirmed for the Tuesday, hasn't it, I think? So yeah. There you go. Big glamour tie against Halifax Town. Don't rush at once to get your tickets. Take it easy. There you go. Okay then, Dan, the only last bit of news is it's whether you want to talk a bit about CUSG and the SLO and a few bits like that.
Yeah, the supporters groups finally appointed a new SLO, Simon Clarkson, who was chair of CUSG and well known from the London branch, has stepped up to become the head of the SLO team. Mm-hmm. He's got a couple of folks helping him, one at home, another for away games, and Jeff, who was the SLO, will still be doing the sorting the meters and greeters around Brunton Park. So you'll see them in their lovely high-vis jackets we sorted for them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they've been involved in CUSG recently is catering.
Yeah.
As people will have seen, John Watt Coffee are using their catering arm to come on board with the club. The club are in charge overall in-house, but John Watt are using they pride themselves on using local stuff, so they'll obviously have their own coffee. They've got the Cumbrian Tea Company from out west on board. McCall's Bakers from Upperby, up the road from me. They're the new pie suppliers after the pie tasting down at the club the other week. There was four different suppliers, and they sort of came out on top because they were decent and they can handle the numbers required type thing. They also had Lakeland Steaks aren't coming back, but there'll be another burger van in the car park, and there'll also be a fish and chip van.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Bit of a shame that Lake and Stakes aren't coming back because they did enjoy this stuff.
I think the plan over time is to try and sort of have no cars in that area of the car park, and maybe even get an outdoor bar in time, because it's all licensed on there, isn't it? So,
it is, that's true.
But yeah, the one big thing about the catering is there seems to be a willingness to make it work. I know they're going contactless on a lot of stuff. So, you won't be fishing about for 50p's. And also, they're going to launch an app where you can order your pie and pint at half time. You'll get an order number. You just go down to the counter, say, 326, pie and a pint, there you go, mate. And that's it.
Brilliant.
So, hopefully, I mean, there'll probably be teething problems initially. There's bound to be. Yeah. It's all new. But I think if folk give them a chance, and they'll be asking for a lot of feedback over the coming weeks. Tell them what works, what doesn't, and hopefully catering will take an upturn.
Yep, definitely. The only other bit is the bit about the CUSG chair, but to be honest, we could spend a fair while talking about that, so let's just tell everyone to go and look on the official website.
I'm bored with it already.
Yeah, so let's just go and look on the official website and you'll find all the details there for that. Okay, news has taken a bit longer than I thought, Dan. There's been lots to fit in there, but we'll take a little quick break now and then we'll be back to talk about the fixtures and look what the ex-Blues have been getting up to over the summer. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, this is George Tanner. You are listening to the Brunton Bugle.
And we're back for part 2. So yeah, Dan, it's that time of year again, isn't it, where we all get ridiculously overexcited and annoyed by a list of team names. Yep, it's fixture release day. So United fixtures are now out and we've all had a chance to look over them, and generally it looks good the way things have panned out. It hasn't been too bad. Before me and you talk about it, I got Mike to record a little message for us, because unfortunately it wasn't available to record today, but Mike gave us our thoughts on that and just a few general thoughts on how things have gone this summer. I've not actually listened to this yet, so I don't know what he said. There could be something really offensive in here and I wouldn't even know it. But
we'll edit it out if it is.
I'm sure there won't be, but here you go. Here's some of Mike's thoughts.
So yeah, I quite like the look of the fixtures. I think we've got a decent start, a decent end, and we're not travelling too far at Christmas. There's no sort of run in there that I would say, oh, that's a really tough run of games. But obviously, we'll know more when sort of teams are fully assembled, if you like. Speaking of teams fully assembled, I've been a bit naughty and I've put money on Barrow to go up this season. If you can forgive me, I just think the players that they've signed from us will do really good for them. Obviously, last season, goes without saying, if we had a 15, 20 goal a season striker, we'd have done a lot better. And I think in Scott Quigley, they've already got that. And Zanzala will give away, will earn a lot of free kicks, and Jamie Devitt loves scoring them. But obviously, this isn't about Barrow, is it? We're not Radio Cumbria. But yeah, the team that we're assembling, I think, is looking good so far. But I think Farman is going to be a massive, massive loss. Like, I don't think you can underestimate just how much we're going to miss him. And I think, obviously, trying to find a replacement of his standard, it isn't going to be easy. But, the signs that we've brought in so far have been good, and hopefully we can bring in a good keeper, and, I'll be backing us to be right up there as well.
Can't believe he's done that. Back in Barrow to go up.
Shocking.
He's not going to be invited back, I'll tell you that much anyway. That's Mike's last appearance on the show. No, I'm only kidding, really. But yeah, so there's some of Mike's thoughts before we include that, so you get to hear a little bit from him. But yeah, looking at the fixtures, Dan, I mean, first up, obviously, we mentioned the fact that we've been drawn against Sheffield United away in the Carabao Cup, which is technically, based on last season's standings, the toughest draw we could have had, isn't it? When you look at it. Because the two of the Premier League teams, the teams that were relegated from the Premier League, aren't included at this stage, are they? They come in at the next stage just to balance things out in terms of number of teams in the draw and that kind of thing. So Sheffield United are basically the highest place from last season, technically, team that we could face this season. It's
we did also feature in another cup draw yesterday, but
we don't discuss
it was
that.
Everton in the Papa John's, so nobody really cares.
Why are you even talking about it? We're not allowed. We don't talk about it.
We've got to be fair. There will be some odd body who will go, but
God help him.
Hashtag B Team boycott.
Exactly that. We don't report on those games, so that's all you're going to get to hear on it for now.
I wash my hair on those evenings, and those of you who know me know how little I have.
Exactly that. But yeah, looking at it generally, starting up with Colchester at home on the opening day, the CUFC derby. Happy enough with that. You know, they've struggled over the last season and a half, really, haven't they, Colchester? They've really been hit by sort of cutbacks there, and long trip for them. Not many other fixtures you probably would have picked, really, for an opening day at home, would you, at Brunton Park?
No, it's always nice to start at home, you know, hopefully get a big crowd in, you know, if everything's right. And after a certain member of the government was caught in the papers today, I can't foresee there being many obstacles because nobody will listen anymore. But that's my little rant out the way. But it's a good solid, and followed by a trip to Swindon, who are in absolute bedlam.
Yeah, I mean, we just before we recorded today, we find out that their manager John McGreal and his assistant have both left the club. Apparently, they've got a load of signings lined up to join, but they can't join them because there's an ongoing legal battle. I think something to do with the ownership of the club, and their chief executive has left today as well. They've only got 10 players signed up for this season. I think they've signed Pierce Sweeney. I think they signed from Exeter. He must be looking now and thinking, what on earth have I done?
Yeah.
A player of his quality as well, to go to a club that's a basket case like that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they must have got him in before this legal case started. But basically, they haven't even announced season ticket plans for this season, Swindon, and we thought it'd be announced hours late. It's not looking great for them. So again, like you said, as a first away game, at the moment, you know, it could change. It doesn't look a bad trip to have, really. Excusing the fact that it's a long distance, but yeah, just a bit of a weird one there going on at Swindon Town right now. So yeah, good first trip up. Then obviously a trip to Swindon, I think, followed by a trip to Port Vale, who we expect to be a very good side. I think this season, I think they've made some. I mean, we said the same last summer, but they seem to have got a manager in who knows this level and has got out of this level before, at least now. So that should make a difference for them. August Bank Holiday weekend. On the Saturday, it's a return for a trip that a lot of our fans do enjoy. Hartlepool United away, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously, hope away fans are allowed. It'll be disappointing if there's only, you know, a couple hundred or whatever. It won't be quite the same, but nice local trip.
A bit controversial here, but I was a bit disappointed that Torquay didn't come up instead. Because to be honest, I'm a bit bored of Hartlepool. Hartlepool as a trip, I don't enjoy that much.
I just don't class them as a rival.
Yeah,
you know, they've got Darlington and Hartlepool hate each other, and I always thought there was a bit more bite when we played Darlington as opposed to Hartlepool.
It used to be a lot of fun going down that back alley, didn't it, to the away end at Feetham's. I remember that. But yeah, so. That's one of the first big away trips of the season, actually. So quite early on, and hopefully the weather's still nice, and hopefully fans will be allowed to go to that one. That's the hope, isn't it?
Christmas time hasn't been too bad, has it?
No,
I'm just looking. We're at home the Saturday before Christmas to Bradford, so there should be what's normally a lesser crowd could be a decent crowd. Boxing Day home to Rochdale. Salford away between Christmas and New Year, which is an evening kick-off.
Frustratingly.
Yeah, but Scunthorpe on New Year's Day is a bit grim.
Who the hell wants to go to Scunthorpe on New Year's Day with a stinking hangover?
I remember in the early 90s when I was about 15, so it'll probably been 93-ish, we played Hereford away on New Year's Day, and we went, and it was one of those where we just sort of stood in that horrid away end at Edgar Street and went, why the hell did we come here today?
Yeah, I know the feeling.
But,
I know the feeling. I think you've done a long trip on New Year's Eve before, haven't you, to Gillingham?
We did Gillingham for a noon kick-off. We actually got the sleeper train from Carlisle to London, and then we got the last train northbound back out of Euston, which was, as it was going up to Glasgow, it was a proper party train. It was a good trip. That was 94, I think it was.
Yeah, around about that time, Steve, to remember. That'd have been a balmy one, that one. So then obviously next sort of big sort of date fixture, I suppose you would say, would be Good Friday when we're away at Walsall, which my good friend Johnny, who listens to this, we went to Walsall a couple of years ago, will be delighted with that one because he's a big fan. There's a pub near to Walsall's ground that does curries, which he insists is the best curry he's ever had. I mean, it didn't look that good to me, but he was wolfing it down in like seconds and telling me it was great. So he's saying that's exactly what the good Lord would have wanted on Good Friday, for him to go to Walsall and have a curry and then watch a dreadful game of League Two football. Easter Monday, Mansfield at home. And another team you'd expect to probably be up there this season, wouldn't you? I'd think, if they signed Danny Johnson, haven't they? I think from Leyton Orient.
Let's get on to the last ones, though, because the last home game, Stevenage, fair enough. But the final day, what a trip this is.
Bradford.
This could be good because they'll want to be up there. We want to be up there.
Although when you look at some of the signings he's made this summer so far, Derek Adams, as someone pointed out to me, does he know he's not Morecambe manager anymore? Because he signed a couple of players. You're looking to think they're not that great. Well, you can sign good players now, you know.
You can't slag him off because he took Morecambe up.
Exactly. Could well do it there, but you sometimes find when you do it at a smaller club, and then you try and transpose that to a bigger club, it just doesn't quite work, does it? But there you go. And then obviously picking out some of the other key trips from the season. The first trip to face Sutton United for the first time in our history. Don't we play them in the cups? Have we ever? Don't recall.
No, not that I'm aware of.
It's the first trip to Sutton United. That is on Saturday, the 25th of September. Nice little trip, that one, isn't it? Towards the start of the season. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I think my shifts are good for that. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I think Mike as well, might be off that weekend, so we'll be making the trip down. I think it's one of the ones I was having looking at it. There's actually a station right next to their ground, isn't it?
Yes.
Literally next door.
You have to change at the main Sutton to get to it, I think.
I'm not sure you do. I think it's on the Thameslink line, I'm sure it is. I think basically if you go to...
Thameslink takes forever though, trust me.
It's not too bad. I think we looked at the times and I'm sure it worked fairly. I think there's like maybe 5-minute difference if you take the other route, but you obviously don't have to change. But there's a direct route from St Pancras all the way down to Sutton basically, so that'll be a decent little trip. I might be able to do a few pub stops on the way as well on that one, because that's one of the advantages of going to London, isn't it? It's literally tap and go, isn't it? So you can go on and off at stations as you wish. We'll be doing that. We might do a special podcast on that episode, maybe on what it's like to do a nice London away trip. In fact, we'll let you on a little secret on a sponsorship deal we've managed to sort for the podcast at the end of today's episode that kind of links to that. Next up, our first game with fans at Harrogate. That is on Saturday the 23rd of April. I think that's the penultimate away game of the season, isn't it? I think. So hopefully nicer weather as well for that one. So that should be a nice little trip to Betty's Tea Rooms, finally. Get a chance to do that one. Is that the third shortest away trip of the season? And Bradford might be a little bit closer, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird one, isn't it? We've got that one to come up. And then obviously the one that a lot of people are going to talk about is the Barrow fixtures, aren't they? Because obviously fans weren't allowed for either of those games last season. We play Barrow at home on Saturday the 14th of November, and the away game is on Saturday the 19th of March. I'm a bit annoyed about the home game being on that date, because I've actually got tickets to go to the Rugby League World Cup quarterfinals at Anfield that day. So that's a really annoying one for me. So I've got to make my mind up whether I'm still going to that game or I want to come to watch Carlisle play Barrow. So very frustrating that for me. But I'm sure fans will be looking forward to both of those games, won't they, Dan?
They will.
Indeed. And just a couple of other points I picked out here. Both Newport games are on bloody midweeks again. And this is really annoying me because I still haven't ticked off Newport as a ground. And I keep thinking, does a higher power not want me to ever go to Newport? Probably for good reason.
I'm the same with Forest Green. I think this season it's ended up when I'm actually on a postponed trip to Amsterdam. So I'll miss Forest Green again.
Another one I need to tick off, actually. I think I've got Forest Green, Sutton, Salford, Harrogate, and there's one other that I can't remember that I need to tick off as well. I need to do Barrow as a league club. I've been there to watch Workington play in the Unibond President's Cup. What a great competition that is. I think there's one other team that I can't for the life of me remember who they are. So there's those ones to tick off. I mean, when you look at it, there's no, as Mike said, there's no real tough runs in there, is there? I mean, the start of the season actually looks quite kind to us. Take away that Port Vale game, maybe. we don't really have a tough game until we face Salford, I think, during September. So it's not too bad. And even the running's not too bad. I think the December maybe looks a bit tricky, some tough games in there. And maybe mid-March to mid-April, there's a bit of a sticky run there. But about that, it doesn't look like... I think we looked last season, there was a point where there was a real bad run of games, it looked, wasn't there? And there was a few concerns about that. But this season, it doesn't look too bad, does it?
No, I know. When we looked at the end of last season, there was, it could be a little run there, a little run here. But no, it's... At the end of the day, if we're serious about being up there, and let's be honest... We've got to be aiming higher than 10th. We've got to be top 7 for me. Should we be bothered when we play everyone?
Not really, no.
Let's make teams scared of us coming to play them.
Exactly that. I'm sure other teams will be looking and thinking, they had a fairly decent season last season, although they've lost a few key players, they've strengthened, they're going to be up there again. That's what you'd hope. The one thing that does actually stand out, that's hard to get used to, is there's a lot less midweek games this season, isn't there? Because it was about 10 or 11 last year, and you look at it now, and I think it's 5, I think, if that. So I think both our games against Port Vale are midweek as well. I think they're the two teams, Newport and Port Vale are the two teams we're facing in midweek games this season. I think there's one other against Salford, obviously the Christmas game. And that's it for fixtures, really, isn't it? It's just going to be exciting to actually be able to plan away trips again, hopefully. That's the ones we're looking at, and Leighton Orient is another one we'll look to arrange, because we'll look to meet up with the guys from the Lowdown podcast after we spoke to them about a billion times last season for various games that were called off and whatnot. Okay, Dan, then let's finish off this week's episode with the X-Files roundup. And my word, it's a bumper X-Files section for you this week.
That's why I've just been quiet for the last minute. I've just been getting my my breath ready.
Yes.
Right, here we go. Cup finals. Former Loneys James Brown and Michael O'Halloran completed the Scottish Cup double with St Johnstone. They beat Hibs 1-0 in the final. Ex-Blues defender Josh Gowling saw his Hereford side beaten 3-1 in a FA Trophy final against Hornchurch. Former trialist we're scraping the barrel here. Jan Klukowski also came on for Hereford.
It's interesting that Scottish Cup final game. I went round to my mate Johnny's house to watch that in his back garden, and because he quite likes Hibs. God almighty, what an awful game of football that was. Like the only like highlight for me was seeing those two players come on, thinking, oh, they used to play for Carlisle. Yeah. And then actually all the other games I watched that day, watched some Bundesliga, and then I watched that I think it was the League One semi-final between Lincoln and Sunderland, and like I said, the FA Trophy final were all much more exciting games than the one I'd actually gone to watch. They're funny that.
Promotion. Dean Bouzounis helped Sutton United into the EFL. Gary Medine and Jerry Yates were playoff winners with Blackpool. Gary Liddell, also a playoff winner with Hartlepool, back into the EFL. Former youth defender Jordan Marshall helped Dundee back to the SPL via the playoffs. Obviously, Christy Elliott from the other season plays there too. And then Morecambe, Cole Stockton, Nathaniel Knight Percival and John O'Sullivan all won promotion to League One.
It's an incredible achievement that for Morecambe, isn't it, to get up to League One, really, when you consider how small the budget is there. And they're basically all cast-offs, players who've essentially failed elsewhere is what they've built up. I know a lot of clubs like that, but for them, it's just fair play to them. What an achievement.
Yeah. Relegation. Gary Dicker was part of the Kilmarnock side, relegated from the SPL for the first time in years. He's been released, but I think Kilmarnock they've got a lot of problems, apparently, Kilmarnock.
They've cleared the decks, haven't they? They've really struggled ever since Steve Clark left them, haven't they, really? They've just not managed to sort things out.
Yeah. Transfers. Wow, this is the list.
Right.
Cameron Salkeld from Morton to Ayr.
He just moves around the Scottish clubs, doesn't he, Cameron? He seems to...
Adam Cullen, Kettering Town to Basford United. Promotion didn't matter to Nathaniel Knight Percival. He's gone to Tranmere. And then John O'Sullivan's gone to Accrington.
Freaky deal for him as well. That's a hell of a good deal that for him.
Tom Parks went from Exeter City to Livingston. That's a bit of a random one.
It's a trek, isn't it?
Yeah. Reece James, who became a bit of a goal getter last season for Donny, has moved on to Blackpool. Good deal for him.
Yeah.
Lee Miller has gone to East Kilbride from Falkirk.
He wasn't actually registered as a player at Falkirk. I think he effectively retired to be one of the coaching staff.
I think he's more a player coach at East Kilbride, isn't he? Possibly. Jack Bridge has gone from Bromley back to Southend.
Well, he nearly signed for Southend last summer, didn't he?
Yeah.
They turned him down, and now suddenly they're like,
hasn't he?
Yeah, and he turned them down, and they're like, oh, actually, maybe we should have him back because he did well at Bromley, I think. Yeah.
Joe McKee has gone from Queen of the South to Dumbarton. He's just touring the Scottish clubs, that lad.
He is, yeah.
Andy Cook went from Mansfield to Bradford. He was obviously on loan there, so that wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
Interesting one here. Macaulay Gillespie has left Brisbane Raw and he's signed for Plymouth. Plymouth can pay quite decent wages, so I wonder if he's been offered a good couple of year deal there. And you know, where are we up to? Sorry, there's so many on this list. Ryan Bowman gone to Shrewsbury from Exeter. Former central defender on loan, Max Amer, has gone back to Gillingham for a second spell from Bristol Rovers. Arthur Gnawer has went to Morecambe from Bolton. Ben McKenna has went from Spennymoor United to Farsley Celtic.
Proper northern non-league sides there, aren't they?
Mark Ellis has gone from Tranmere to Barrow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, you can relax on that bit for now, Dan.
Yeah. Managers and coaches. That bloke's agreed to stay at Oldham. Signing a permanent deal.
Go on.
Danny Granger and Tony Craig have joined the coaching team at Falkirk as assistant and goalkeeper coach. That'll be a miss for Reds, obviously. But Greg Abbott's in an advisory role at Solihull and Moors to, who was it got appointed again?
Neil Ardley.
Neil Ardley, that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
And he of the massive telly, Darren Kelly, has become Newport County's very first sporting director. Sporting director is basically a director of football. It's just different clubs use different terms.
It's the title they generally use in Germany, isn't it? I think basically for the guy who supports the manager by doing all the technical side and sorting stuff out.
We've got a couple of extras. Glenn Murray has announced his retirement as a professional footballer. A little sub-note here, if you're wanting something to watch over the summer and you've got Amazon Prime, the Crystal Palace 5-part documentary is brilliant, and Glenn Murray features quite a bit on that.
I'll have to give that a watch.
And Brad Potts seemingly needed a poo. He just happened to do it on a car.
See, I put this in the running order as Brad Potter's been a naughty boy in the hope that you would avoid mentioning actually what he'd done.
Well, he's done it. The video's up there to see. So.
It's up for everyone to see. Dear God.
I'm sure there's a tale behind it, but
I think
it was the Daily Star. So if you search Brad Potts Daily Star on your search engine, you'll find it.
Yeah, I think
that's all we'll say.
I think it's a few years old, the video, by all accounts. He was a bit of a jack the lad when he was at Carlisle, I think it's fair to say. A little bit underrated because we had people like Gary Medine at the club at the time and people thought he was the nutter. But so been a bit of a naughty boy, but he's doing quite well at Preston, actually, to be fair on him. So there you go. And that's it done. That's it for our fixtures special. Probably focused on more than the other stuff than we did on the fixtures, really, in the end. But there you go. Thanks for joining me. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks at least more before we do another proper episode, isn't it?
We'll probably do one around when the friendlies start up again in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but we're both going to try to get a couple of the friendlies, aren't we? I think I'm aiming to get to Chorley and Lancaster at the very least.
I should be at Penrith, possibly Chorley, and maybe Lancaster. So
brilliant stuff. We'll get you some reports from those games over the season.
We could maybe condense it into like one episode after them or something, you know.
Possibly, might be the way we do it. That might be the way we do it. Just a little update here. We obviously mentioned towards the end of last season we were looking for people to potentially sponsor the podcast, and we're pleased to announce that for next season, the second half of the podcast, so the preview section generally of each episode, is going to be sponsored by the Cal United London branch of the Sports Club. Very kindly, they've agreed to give us a bit of wonga to keep it going, because it isn't free to run this. I'll be honest with you. We've obviously got a host and stuff like that, and obviously pay for the online studios and stuff like that. But they've been brilliant and really supportive. Thanks so much to those guys there for that. So they'll be getting a mention on every episode. They'll also be providing us particularly when we've got away games. They'll be giving us a bit of info on pubs to go to and any travel information you need to know for the games.
I was hoping you were going to say they were going to share the cheese and wine on the way back.
Hey, behave. you'll be getting a special package of cheese and wine sent to you, Dan, as part of the sponsorship deal, I'm sure.
Good.
There you go. So yeah, thanks to those guys again for sponsorship. We're still looking for other guys. If you want to sponsor maybe the first half of the show or something like that, just give us a shout and we'll look at sorting something out for you. So yeah, if you've got any feedback or comments or anything you'd like to suggest we discuss on the show, please send them in via Twitter to @BruntonBugle, by email to bruntonbugle@gmail.com, or find us on our Facebook page or on the Be Just and Fear Not Facebook page. We're always on there, Dan, aren't we? Cracking about all things.
Yeah.
Carl United.
Places.
Yeah, and you can find the podcast on all the usual podcast apps, or you can subscribe, whether it's Acast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all good apps. Just search for Brunton Bugle. If you can't find us on any of them, let us know and we'll try and get ourselves onto those apps as well. There's not really much to update on the world map of listeners, Dan, because we haven't had
really had out to listen to, have we?
If you're looking for any other bits to listen to, you can always go back and listen to some of our special episodes. Just look for them on your podcast apps or look for them on our website, bruntonbugle.com. You can find them. We did a great little one with Jeff from Fox Analytics quite recently, talking about the statistical side of United's 2021
that's
season.
Definitely worth a listen.
Well worth a listen. Obviously, we did the interview with George Tanner as well, didn't we? A while back. That's a good listen too.
We just need to finish also editing off our best 11 ones. We'll probably start getting them out as the friendlies start kicking in. So just so you've got something to listen to.
I have nearly finished your one, actually. I should say that it's a bit of a slog to get it done. But
I will try and produce a list of tied in with pre-season trialists.
Yes.
We do a little special on some of the great and good trialists we've had over the years.
It's basically going to be half an hour of you talking about Lawrence Shankland, isn't it, basically?
From Christopher Diaz to Godfrey Abibo.
You just basically want to talk about Lawrence Shankland for half an hour, don't you? And how Keith Kerr was wrong to let him go.
Well, I've been proven right.
Exactly that.
Shankland and Cosgrove would have won the league in a two up front. It was obvious on that sunny day at Carlisle City in the friendly.
Of course it is. Of course it was. Of course it was. Dan, thanks so much for joining me as usual.
No bother.
Thanks everyone for listening, and enjoy the summer and up the Blues.
Up the Blues.